All right, we're doing our usual Saturday stream. I'm gonna try to go for an hour and a half, which is the bare minimum of what we like to do. Give a little bit of a different title from the arbitrary warning system that we have. So we're gonna wait and see if anybody pops in here. The wait for the fourth Dead by Daylight video is probably gonna be maybe 2, 3, 4 days. It won't be as long as the period between the second and third one because I already recorded the matches for the fourth one. Yeah, by happenstance, I ended up playing with a person who is on my friends list. They actually were one of the first people that I sent a friend request to that actually played with me for multiple matches. So it's nice to be able to honor them in such a even if it's a small manner like this. Hey, good afternoon, at least from my time zone. Well, it almost is afternoon over here as well. So you're not too far off. What was I gonna say? I'm trying to think of something. Um, what issue am I on of Uncanny now? 125. Yeah, so I've been reading through Chris Claremont's uh, Uncanny X-Men run. I'm on issue 125 after they fight Arcade for 2 issues, and he basically brainwashes Colossus into attacking the other members of the team. I just found his run to be really interesting so far. I'd say my favorite part of it at this point, because the Dark Phoenix stuff is coming up pretty soon, um, would probably have to be when they fight the doppelganger members of the original team. So when the new members fight the original members. So I've really been enjoying his run. I keep reminding myself that we're not even halfway through it yet, because I mentioned that one of the things I really respect about Claremont is his longevity, just staying with the book for as long as he did 15 years. Um, so I'm very excited to press forward with his rendition of the characters. Yeah, me and my best friend had a conversation last night. We were talking about, I mean, multiple things, but one of the things that we discussed was how it really does seem as if people don't get honored if they do something good, and it's only if you do something bad where you get recognition. And I was going to make a video about a month ago about this murderer's father and how his son, who was killed almost 30 years ago in prison, only had to deal with the infamy of being a known person who killed other people for 3 years. But then this man has had to put up with that for the last 30. And I find his dad to be a much more interesting person because it seems like there's a very common trait among killers that their father wasn't involved or they're abusive, and he was neither of those things. So we were talking about how it's so sad that you have this normal guy who did nothing wrong, but because of what his son did, he has that like tarnish on his name forever. It's really sad. It's also sad that they'll make the same movie about his son killing people 3 or 4 different times before they'll make one on him. Because in my video I was going to make on him last month, I talked about how instead of doing the same old plot of the killer that tries to pretend to be normal, why don't you do something different, which is make a movie about the dad and what it's like to just be this normal guy trying to raise a kid, and then you find out they're a murderer, and then that same kid gets murdered, and then you have to like deal with the trauma of losing your child and the consequences of what they've done at the same time. I think that'd be a really interesting premise for a film. But again, it's not something that these executives or anyone with any power would recommend because they just want to tell the same old, recycled story about the son's killing spree. So that's the conversation we had. That when you do good things, you don't tend to get really any accolades whatsoever. But if you do something evil, everybody knows who you are. Like, it used to be really depressing to me that I would know all these children when I was in elementary school who all knew who Hitler was, but then a lot of them, if they know who FDR is, it's like very, very surface level. It's like, oh, that was a president. It's just it goes back to that thing of how if you do something bad, you're more likely to get attention for it. And I actually discussed this a couple of years ago when I did my I think it was called The Forgotten Man or something to that effect. Hey, the Forgotten video, where I was talking about when people do like good or decent things or are productive, they tend to get overlooked in favor of evil things. Which it's kind of funny because the whole purpose of focusing on something that is bad is that it's supposed to be significant because of how different it is, but there are so many different like murderers and all these like there's not just five or six of those, so the thing that's supposed to be unique is become not becoming but has become more prevalent over the last you know 30 or 40 years. So it's ironic that now that's just a normal thing. We're just so used to these different people that just decide to end someone's life involuntarily. um but it was funny because in the comment section of that video or another one, I had a person who like this is one of the weirdest because I always try to look at things from other perspectives sometimes. Or I guess I do genuinely try to do that. But it was the weirdest thing to see this guy get like so defensive and nasty where he was like, your idea is kind of dumb. People don't care about the street sweeper because it's just some example. There's a whole bunch of them. And I was like, that's a really short-sighted way to break a person down. Like, so for example, when me and my friend were talking, I said, "Sure, you and I went to high school for 4 years, right? That's something we share in common, but our experiences were not the same. Like uh, when I was in ninth grade, I had someone I asked out who said no, and then proceeded to like make fun of me over, how dare you ask me out." And that's something he didn't experience as far as he was willing to share. So a lot of times when people try to say that different circumstances are the same, they always it's a good way of saying it, they always leave out parts of it that are not the case, like things that are variances between you and somebody else. I just think it's really sad. It really does feel like people just don't have imaginations or care about much of anything, or anyone for that matter. Because I even told him, he's the kind of person you can sit down and just explain something to. I told him the reason I was disappointed he didn't know who Kirby was because when you make properties that star in films that make millions and billions of dollars, your name should be world known. I don't care if that man has been dead for 30 years or if he had been dead for 200. If as long as he is the originator of a majority of the major Marvel properties, people should know who that is. Yeah, a lot of people don't have imaginations. They think the world began when they were born. It's not even just that, it's this idea that a regular person, right? A person that, let's say is not a criminal or famous, has never done anything that would be interesting to see or to watch or to know about. That's why that comment was really irritating to me because it's a person pretending that every single individual's high school experience, for example, is the same. even if it isn't, which it's not. But that's the point, that you take this surface level idea and then you just cut it down to its bare minimum to say everyone did this. It's one of the reasons why with the romance stuff, it's so frustrating to like sit here and lay out specific grievances that you have with these chicks for the stuff that they've done. Um, and then have people who go, "Well, you're just mad because they don't want to bang you." It's like, did you even hear anything that just came out of my mouth? But it's that same thing of how they're not trying to understand the specifics of what you're talking about or what bothers you or your opinion. They want to take things and boil them down to the bare minimum and cut out anything that would be unique about you. Now it's funny that chick stuff always finds a way to because it's a really it's a good topic to give examples of because people know what it is usually more so than a lot of the political stuff. Most of them don't want to hear it. They just want to project. Yeah, they love projecting. They love that's why we came up with the well, not the phrase, but just using the word fan fiction the way we do, where these people have shown they're not willing to listen to you, but they're willing to construct their idea of what happened to you with no proof, which I think is really disturbing and insane. And it's again, it goes back to this idea that I don't want to listen to you and know any specific things that might bother you, but I'm going to expect that you listen to me. No, with the Kirby thing, I gave my friend the example because I've mentioned before he's not into politics. I said, you know, um, I get where someone forgets a president, even if it's one I think is important, like FDR or Truman or someone else, right? But because again, people don't pay attention to politics that much, so I would expect if they don't even know who a lot of the current politicians are, they're probably not going to know who older ones are. But like everybody goes to see Marvel movies, like they're millions and billions of people tune into those things, and you don't know who made these characters, especially when most of them were made by the same like two or three people. That's what I was conveying. That it really disturbs me that the thing, entertainment, right? The thing that people are supposed to be more interested in than the news or politics, whatever. They can't even remember key parts of that. Like, and it goes. It's not even just about like writing comics. Like a lot of people will remember actors, right? They saw them in some movie, some show, but they don't even remember who directed the movie or wrote the thing that made the actor famous or added to their career. Because actors are usually defined as great partially because of their performance and also because of the material that they're given. It's like a detective who ignores all the forensic evidence. It just really is disturbing to me that you do something important and then you still end up not being remembered, even by people who like the important thing you did. Like everyone that's ever made a show I really like, I know who they are. A show or a series, excuse me. I like Punisher, so I know who Gary Conway is. I know who he is mostly because I read his Spider-Man run. Um, I like The Simpsons, so I know who Matt Groening is. I also like Futurama, but that didn't last as long. I like Venom, so I know who Todd McFarlane is, even though I sometimes get him mixed up with Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy. But you get the point, right? That it doesn't make any sense to me where you enjoy and or love some show or movie, whatever, and then you don't know who the key people behind it were. I just think that's insane. I don't know, maybe a Kowski merchant gets what I'm saying. I think something is fundamentally wrong with that. That a person can make something you like, something you think is good, something you would call yourself enjoying or loving, but then you don't even remember who made it. I think you get what I'm saying. That it's just I find it really depressing that you can do something that people really like, and it can be hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people, and they still don't know who you are unless you're like on screen or something. It's really sad. Just like with you and me, Akatsuki Merchant, we both like the Raimi trilogy, the Spider-Man films. There are a lot of people who don't actually know who Sam Raimi is. Like, if you asked them who directed those three movies, they wouldn't be able to say who the director's name was, or anything about Evil Dead or any of that. It's just I just think that's so. And you know what? The other thing we have to discuss. Let me read what you wrote. If you're going to enjoy a medium, you should at least know who created. Exactly. Imagine me saying, "I'm such a Naruto fan. I love Naruto." Kishimoto, who? They really think it's okay to know, like, to claim you love something or enjoy something, and then don't even know who wrote it or who made it. No, I told my friend the Chris Claremont thing really irritates me because, again, this is a man who stayed on X Men for longer than any other writer, 15 years. This is a man who at least three of the films, X Men 3, Days of Futures Past, and Dark Phoenix, are based off of stories that he wrote. This is the man who is the author of X-Men #1, which was drawn by Jim Lee, which is to this day the best-selling comic book of all time. Sold millions of copies. So it's like, he has a lot of accolades to his name. And it frustrates me that someone who I think is a really good writer, and who I also believe has done things of various distinction, just gets completely overlooked, even by people who claim to like X-Men. Like, I already accepted most people aren't gonna read the comics, but at least know the goddamn names of the people that wrote it. Ugh. They can't even give you surface level information. Like, it is so easy to go on. It could be Wikipedia, it could just be Google, whatever, and look up who created this character, what did that person do, It's so simple. God, I just don't understand why it's hard to give people credit for doing good things. There are fans of the MCU who will legit trash the comics while calling themselves fans of Marvel. Oh, I've actually seen some people who want to call themselves, that objective criticism thing we talked about a couple of months ago. And this guy, I'll never forget, he made an hour and a half video trashing the movie about a comic book. It's based on a comic, and then had the goal to say that because his criticism is that the writing is not good, or is very poor, or the script is weak, whatever, because he thinks that the only thing that matters about the movie is the writing. But then he said he doesn't like reading comics, and I'm like, so wait a second. I'm supposed to take your criticism of this film's writing seriously, but you're too much of an attention lacking prick to be able to read a book with pictures. Like, you can't even read a book with pictures, but I'm supposed to believe you're this great writing critic. You get how insane that is? I'm a writing critic. I believe in quality writing. That's why I can't even read a book with pictures. Because remember, the history of comics in the US, comics were seen again in like the 50s, 60s, less so now, but like back then, as books that were intended for children and illiterate adults. So he is admitting he can't even read a book for children or illiterate adults, but he's the writing expert that we need to take seriously and value the opinion of. But again, it goes back to what I was saying about how like these people, I don't understand how you call yourself a fan of this stuff and you're so turned off by like most content for Spider-Man, Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Hulk, Daredevil, Thor, Captain America, any character pretty much. Most content for them is comics. Like there haven't been, you know, 10 Spider-Man movies, but there have been 10 Spider-Man comics, some of which have hundreds of issues. Well, I shouldn't say that. Amazing has like over 800 and then Spectacular at over 200. You get the idea that I don't understand how you're a fan of this stuff and then you like actively reject reading what is a majority of content surrounding it. That's like calling yourself a fan of the NFL while trashing most of the teams who play. Dude, you actually do have Star Wars fans that literally believe that the only two good movies are A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Like they even criticize Return of the Jedi as not being good. It's like, when you look at the way they treated Lucas, like after the prequels, right? No wonder he sold it to Disney. He didn't want to put up with these entitled white boys. It's like, but they'll call themselves fans of this stuff while disliking a majority of the content for their supposed thing that they claim to like. Now they won't do anything. They won't look up who made something. They won't read like any of the stuff. I don't know. Just that people are really. It's like a mixture between being lazy and not caring. It's those two together. But again, I reached the breaking point where I just kind of accepted that people don't care about like most politicians, right? Like just they don't care to look them up, know what they did, whatever. But then it's like they do this even with stuff that they're supposed to be into, like millions. I guess you could say billions because Endgame did make however much money it did. But you have these people that like these millions of people that will watch these films and they have no idea who made the character, no idea, like just they don't care. Just complete surface level information. And even then that's still lacking. I just think it's really sad. And it goes back to my point that you can do important, good things and still be forgotten, still be not known even by the group of people who are supposed to know who you are. Because again, it's not like I'm going up to my mother who doesn't, like comics or comic films or anything. The only one she saw is Black Panther because every single black person saw that. Um, it's not like I'm going up to her and asking her to tell me who made these different characters. Like these are people who claim to like this stuff and they don't even know who, these like the only people they know are maybe Stanley and then some of the actors, or most of the actors rather, like most of the big name actors. By the way, if you see the correlation, I don't know if Akatsuki Merchant's here anymore, but if you see the correlation of people who know who an actor is, but then they also don't know them for anything outside of one or two specific roles, it's really funny. Like a lot of people know who RDJ is, but they haven't seen him in anything other than, MCU stuff, like the 8 or 9 movies he did for them, which I think is really funny because he's a really good actor. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. There's a lot of stuff he's been in. Sherlock Holmes. Just that's why it goes back to my thing of like people claim they like or love somebody, but then they don't even. And you just keep seeing more examples of how that starts to fall by the wayside. Oh, let me tell you about this broad because this goes back to my point of fake support. I love someone so much, but I can barely do anything to show support for them. So the woman from the video I did, it was called Woman asked me on a date and, the backflips or whatever, the one from May. She is someone who claims to be a fan of Marvel. And I already accepted these people don't read comics, they don't watch any of the shows, they just watch a bunch of films, and now they love this stuff so much. And she's like really into the actress that plays Scarlet Witch. And what ends up happening is that most of the people I know that are fans of that character have seen, you know, most or everything she was in. Like I don't know anybody else that hasn't seen what she's in. This dingbat. Okay, how do I explain this? Scarlet Witch currently is in like 5 movies and WandaVision. The only one she saw was the first one, Age of Ultron. So she didn't see Civil War. Well, she claims she thought it was stupid that Iron Man and Captain America were fighting, even though that's like there's a really good explanation for it in the film, but whatever. The premise is like so disturbing to her. She didn't see Civil War, she didn't see Infinity War, she didn't see Endgame, and she didn't see WandaVision, but she's a big fan of this actress. And her reason for not seeing this stuff is because she doesn't like it when characters die. And this really annoyed me. I didn't say anything, of course, to argue against this because at the time I was trying to date. But it's like you don't read comics where in the majority of issues nobody dies, but you'll sit here and I guess what is just so bizarre to me is that I'm so attached to a fictional character, even one that is introduced in the same film and dies later on, that I'm not going to support this actress that I claim to love so much and the stuff that she's in or see any of it. Like again, I just think stuff like that is really stupid because if someone I cared about, whether it's an actor I've never met or a relative, was in a movie, you're damn right. If I want to support, I'm going to go watch it. It goes back to that thing of that fake support. People claim, "Oh, I love you so much. Oh, I'm in this new movie. Did you see it? Oh, no." It's just so weird. A lot of people don't want to educate themselves, but are still arrogant enough to speak on a subject they are not informed on. Well, you saw the no, I can't give that example because you weren't here for it. There was a guy that got very angry that like I just passively mentioned I like Johnson, right? The former president. Uh and he got upset because I wouldn't debate him, like got angry that I would not argue with him about why I like a certain politician. I like as if because he's a subscriber to me, I'm forced or I'm under contract to give a justification for why I like someone he doesn't. Um, and it was really disturbing to me because I don't go around, trying to force people to like Trump or Obama or any of these other clowns to, you know, argue with me about why they like those people. But what I thought was really interesting is that there are a lot of people who, again, it goes back to that thing of they might remember someone's name, but they don't know what they did. And I sat there with my friend last night, and I told him about the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, um, the establishment of Head Start, of 911, the emergency broadcast system, um, Vietnam, obviously, the Gun Control Act. I named multiple things that Johnson did, and when I was talking to him, we actually discussed how a lot of conservatives will say that they're not like the Democrats and they believe people should have personal responsibility, but then they'll blame Johnson for why, because the guy that was on my stream like crapping on him was like, he's the reason that black kids don't have dads. And I'm just thinking to myself, so wait a second, this man that's been dead for almost 50 years is the reason why a woman lets a man go in a man that she's not married to go in her unprotected and have and also the reason why she has a kid she knows she can't afford. Like you get where that's ironic. Like, oh yeah, we're not like the Democrats. We believe in personal responsibility. That's why we're going to use people's dumb decisions to blame a politician that has nothing to do with any of these people by virtue of never meeting them. You get why that like are very ironic. We believe in personal responsibility. Oh, you banged someone and had a kid you couldn't afford, and now you're leaving this woman with this kid that she can't afford and going to ruin its life. That was Johnson's fault. He made you stick your Johnson in her. You get where that's ironic, right? Like we believe in personal responsibility. Until you do something, then we're going to blame this politician on it. Dude, I find that a lot of the people that oppose the welfare state have like no solutions. Like they don't believe in any social safety net. Like if you fall through or have hard times or any of that, screw you. Just go die in a hole somewhere. God, that's just very ironic to me. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna like let's say I have a I don't know, just an example. I crashed my car into somebody from drunk driving. If Trump wasn't in office, I wouldn't have. Like they take some politician and just blame them for stuff they do. I just think that's really funny. It's Obama's fault that I went in my girlfriend unprotected and had a kid we knew we couldn't afford. It's like those people who blame high crime rates in cities on Democratic leaders. Yeah, I'm like, how is it the mayor's fault that they're going around shooting each other? Like, what? I told you that, just if you're a Democrat and there's like bad, any kind of crime going on, it's your fault. You might as well be committing the crimes yourself. There is no correlation between high crime rates and party affiliation. Hey, tell them that. Hey, this guy also, Banana, didn't like Nixon. Um, I guess for the war on drugs, that was like something he had a problem with. But I was thinking, I was like, so wait a second, you don't like Johnson who stays in Vietnam, right? And you also don't like Nixon who got us out of Vietnam. You get what I'm saying about like if you stay over there, I don't like you. And if you get us out, I also don't like you. And then with the like the war on drugs considered, had like disproportionate incarceration of black people. So it's like, so wait a second, when a president gives them money, right, to help them, it's bad and he's evil. But then also if he puts them in jail for crimes that they committed, he's also evil. So if you help them, you're bad by assisting them financially. You're bad. And then if you put them in prison for stuff they did, you're also bad. But see, that's why I don't take online opinions seriously, because it's just people. The way that politics in the US works with a lot of individuals, especially on the computer, is if you do one thing they don't like, you're the worst person that ever lived. So they would have to prove that there is a relationship between. I mean, Akatsuki Merchant. It's dumb. Like this guy was saying, "Oh, welfare state destroyed black friends." Like most people on welfare are white, and they still get married over 70% of the time when they have a kid. Like you can't just say this one thing is why this group of people doesn't get married anymore. When the group that's mostly on it still, when they have a child, overwhelmingly gets married. Now I went up and looked up those polls. I said, 70% of the time when a white child is born, it's in wedlock. Most people on welfare are white, and yet they're still getting married over for the most part when they have a kid. But then you're gonna sit here and tell me these other ethnic groups are like all so damaged because they're on the same program. It has to be an external factor. I just think people don't care about like actually having like this is just my opinion, and you can call me like a cynic for saying this. I believe people are very selfish and they don't care about like anyone besides themselves. and that's why we even were able to find proof that people will open their legs and like take the chance of having a kid they can't afford just because they don't like the way a condom feels. So I think that's the real reason that a lot of people of they can be black, they can be Hispanic, they can be white, whatever, just people in general do not care about like thinking ahead and protecting someone else, like an unborn kid, from a horrible life. So they would rather take that risk than wear a condom because again, they're evil. They're douchebags. I was going to say, yeah, white people have children of higher rates because they make up majority of the U.S. population. Well, right, but I'm also saying that I think it's insane to blame a politician for why people open their legs to someone they're not married to and pop out a kid they know they can't afford. I don't see how that's the fault of someone that was in office. These people I never met had a kid that they couldn't afford. Since I was in office at one point, it's my fault. Now they always find a way to blame somebody for something. Also, if you can hear this, I apologize for the background noise. Nothing I can do about it because that's another one of the crucibles of you know not living alone. I've had so many fantasies about living alone, like no noise in the background. Just it would be so perfect if I could afford it. I would. Hey, I'll have 100,000 subs on here before I end up getting the chance to do that. That's how like insane the economics are in California. It's because that kind of rhetoric works. Republicans depend on their base being too stupid to be educated on any political issue. But it's even scarier because you live in a digital age where people can look this stuff up and go and see if a politician actually did what they were talking about, and they just choose not to do that. They choose to be like we even had this last November where there was no proof that that election was stolen, and you had people right that lived in different states across the U.S., mostly the South, who were saying that they didn't care if there was no proof. They believed the election was stolen. Like they admitted there was no proof, but they still believed it was rigged. By the way, that's another joke that we've had that like if you're a Republican, if you win the election, it was all fair games. If you lose, it was rigged. You can never lose legitimately. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna run for office, and if I get like blown out, or even if I come really close to it, I'm always gonna say it was rigged. I can never legitimately win. People cannot not elect me. That's not an option. Damn, I hate that so much. Every time we lose, it's rigged. Every time we win, it was all fair. A lot of people act like sheep when it comes to looking up information, so don't expect people to think for themselves. Media controls the masses. Yeah, but it's still screwed up. Like, I mean, this is just one facet. What we were talking. We were also discussing when you do something important and you don't get remembered for doing it, and how like a lot of people I knew when I was a kid knew who Hitler was. They didn't know who FDR was, which is just insane to me. Um, Again, it's the same thing of like you do something bad, you get remembered for it. You do something good, you get ignored. If they wanted to make 10 or 15 movies about Obama, right? As much as I think he was a terrible just politician, right? I would still prefer that over them making another movie about a serial killer, because at least them making something about Obama is educational. Now, I sat down with my best friend. I told him so much stuff about that man he didn't know. Talked about him being part of the worst humanitarian crisis in the world in Yemen, where they starve children as they bomb them to death. We talked about him bombing Syria so much that he ran out of bombs, taking us from 2 wars to 7. Jailing journalists 6 times with the Espionage Act. The only 2 things he did that were good, and I'll maintain this position, was reestablishing relations with Cuba and the Iran nuclear deal, which that's already been ripped up by Trump. So it's like you get the idea that even if I don't like this person, there's a lot more merit in making some show movie about him than there is on making something on one of these criminals. Because with him, it would be educational. Exactly. There's no way it's a coincidence that people are talking about rigged elections during COVID. Yeah, literally proved to my friend the election was not rigged, but he continued to believe it. You can't help people who choose to be ignorant for the sake of intuition. I think they're just mad that Trump didn't get a second term, so they want to believe whatever's convenient. Like, I fully believe if Biden lost, you wouldn't see anyone saying, oh, the election was rigged, the Republicans stole it. They really tried to pretend this was Bush versus Gore 2.0. Last time it was Russia, this time it was us. I know that Brandon was actually caught on video going to his post office and changing votes from Biden to Trump. from Trump to Biden, excuse me. Well, yeah, people voted for Biden because they hated Trump. Yeah, I didn't vote for either one of them because, well, I already explained it over the course of several videos last year. But you get my point that if they made something about Obama, as much as I don't like him, I would see a lot of merit to making it if it's educational, you know? Like with the serial killer stuff, it's the same story over and over. Here's this man that looked to be normal, but it turns out he killed 5 to 10 people, or 5 to 13 people, or an unknown number of people. You know, it's like, you get the idea. That's just a lot of that stuff just seems really redundant. And it really sucks because there are plenty of people who've had interesting lives that, don't get any movie made on them or any like biographical thing whatsoever because they didn't do anything evil. People are way too comfortable spreading misinformation. That's why I think spreading misinformation should be illegal. No, my free speech. I'm being censored. Seems like objective truth isn't a thing anymore. I'm just saying, I think if people do something important, they should be remembered. And we don't really get that. And it's like, even if it's something that's not as big of a deal as like, because that's why I gave the example of Kirby for like the entertainment stuff. It's like the best-selling movies of all time, a lot of times are Marvel stuff and feature a bunch of characters that he made, and there's like millions of people who don't know who that man is, or was rather, which I just think is insane. Like if you read comics, you probably know who he is, but just like, someone goes to see let's get an example. Let's say Captain America, right? Who made that character? I don't know. Just stuff like that is sad to me. There's no such thing as objective truths because reality itself is hardly subjective. I can't wait to do something important, but because it's not evil, I won't be remembered for doing it. That would be crazy if somebody actually made like a movie where they time travel to when Kirby was alive and they tell him in like 20 years some of the best selling movies of all time are going to be based off characters you made. And he's like, "Oh, great, that sounds amazing." And then they're like, "Yeah, but people won't remember who you are because they're even though we live in an era where you can just type in who made Iron Man and then you get the people who made it." I just think that's so sad. It's just like they had this one article that said that the like most famous Christian was Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. I was like, that's a really good character, but it is kind of sad that you're associating Christianity with a character versus like actual people who are important to the history of it. Like, they're not associating it with Jesus Christ, which is insane. That's one of the most famous people of all time. They're not associating it with, Pope Paul, just like any of them, John Paul II, like no, there are so many people who, again, even if I don't agree with whatever they did, I would say objectively are significant and then get completely ignored. Remember, we were talking about the civil rights stuff and how they would always, like, they really do just act like it was King by himself. They never bring up Ralph Abernathy, even though he was King's second in command, his right hand man, who actually took over the Southern Christian Leadership Conference after King's death. Just stuff like that really is sad to me. There are these other people who were, very important and did things that mattered, and uh, they don't have like the same martyr quality, so they don't get acknowledged. And here I am talking about this, and you guys are writing about objective truths. It's like, man, just address what I'm saying. This is they really do treat like the stream chat like it's a forum on some website, like a live forum. It's like they treat the stream chat like it's Discord with a video playing. It's like this person is typing, and then you write something that doesn't have anything to do with what's being talked about. That's why I keep mentioning Claremont over and over because I am currently reading this stuff. But it's like even if I only get to bring him up on a stream that not even 100 people view, it's like I would rather accept that as me doing my part to keep that man's memory alive, to like give him the praise that I think he deserves for his writing talents. No, it was the same thing where I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street with my brother. No, we were watching Scream, and then there's the line where at the beginning of the film, the woman mentions that the first Nightmare on Elm Street was scary and the rest suck, and I mentioned to my brother that joke is a nod to the director Wes Craven who created Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's the same thing of how like there are people who've seen those films that don't even know who Wes Craven is. Like Wes Craven's probably one of the probably I'd say in the entire history of horror films, one of the most important people, period. Because you don't usually have one person that gets to make two significant franchises relating to those types of movies. You'll bring up a certain subject, and either no one will respond because they're conveniently busy, or they'll just completely ignore it and bring up, oh yeah, all the time. I'm so busy. I'm currently doing something. I won't be able to respond to you for the next couple of hours. No, that's why I got so mad when that person took my videos. I'm like, I sat here for, in some cases, days or weeks writing a script, and then I finally was able. I had to edit the audio, gather the pictures, and I'm not even going to get the basic credit of getting the views from the thing I made. Like, I think that's, stuff like that really pisses me off because it goes back to this thing of how you can do something important because a video is not insignificant if somebody else feels like they have to download it and try to get their own copy of it, and then you don't get any credit for it. Imagine if I took, let's say, the first Avengers, right? And I take off Joss Whedon's name as the director and I put my name. Like, that would be a douchebag thing to do. Like, this guy made this movie. Are you going to try to deprive him of his credit? Imagine for like every video I have to put credits at the start of it, like directed by me, starring me, produced by me. When in reality, it's just laziness and refusal to interact with other human beings like a sane person. I mean, hey, you saw that now. What was the point stream? You over here talking about this chick stuff. Everybody is acting civilized. No one's being disrespectful. And then somebody comes to, do you wear any other outfits? It's just, it's stuff like that is, again, when people get banned on this channel, they have to really act insane, like do things that make no type of sense. Like a certain person who keeps saying that he's not going to watch me anymore, but has been saying that since March and has come back after saying that twice. Oh, something is wrong with people on this site, I swear. Yeah, I asked my best friend, I was like, again, the reason why this stuff bothers me is because when you do something significant, like if I asked him if you did something that was important, whether you made some show that millions of people watched, some movie that millions of people watched, whatever, wouldn't you want to be remembered for making that? Wouldn't you want to be acknowledged for doing something that has brought enjoyment or some type of virtuous quality to other people? No, really. If you made something that was seen by millions of people, that they praised, they talked how it was so influential and all the rest of this, wouldn't you want to be acknowledged for doing that? I want to know if you did something that was seen by millions of people, whether it's a show, movie, whatever, book, would you not want the credit for doing that? I'd like for at least one of you to answer that before I proceed. If you would be so kind. Man, my chat dies right when I ask them a question. That'd be funny if there were like both you were like really like, what I want to be acknowledged. I'm thinking about it. We're gonna start playing the Jeopardy music. I am awaiting the responses. I'll keep on holding out hope that they'll come eventually at some point today. Let me know. Where did Brandon go? Is he still on my stream or did he go to the stove? Where did the Kotsky merchant go? Is he typing right now or did he go to somewhere to say, wow, where did the subs go? Are they still watching me? Or did they go to take a pee? All right, then he responded, Akatsuki Merchant says, yes, of course, I'd want the credit. In fact, I, as a writer, would be offended if a movie was made about my story, but the fans of said movie didn't even know who I was. Yeah, but that's my thing that, like, I believe when like, if you can get films and all these books and documentaries made about these psychopaths that go out and kill people, I think the same should be done for someone that does something of great importance, whether it's make a movie, they're a director, the writer, whatever, TV show, or if they're an actor, just like it was. I'll never forget this. It was 2015, and I was talking to my grandfather, and I mentioned I had never seen what his parents looked like, and he pulled out this case of pictures of them, and I always remember that because to me it didn't matter if I never met those people or spoke to them. The fact that they had played a very important role in the life of someone I loved, was enough to make me interested in them and appreciative of that, and wanting to remember them in such a manner. I had these trolls. It doesn't happen that often, but every now and again I get some troll that tries to like talk about my cross because for some reason, I tell you they nitpick you to death. Um, this cross was given to me when I was, I think, 2 or 3. It was like the Christmas of 2000, 2001, by a relative who raised my maternal grandmother, a relative that I didn't see that often, that died when I was in 3rd grade. And even though that person played, kind of like a bit part in my life, I wear the cross as a sign of respect for them and what they did for my grandmother, who I love. To remember someone who was important, not only to that person, but to me as well by extension. How dare you couldn't be a fan of my content while giving me absolute credit, the arrogance, while giving me absolutely no credit, the error. Yeah. But you get the idea that if someone does something significant that I think is good, that I like, I'll give them credit. Like I remember a few years ago, I did a top 10 subscriber video. I just don't believe in rewarding douchebags. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's just really sad to me that we treat people like this. And these aren't even like, I would understand if someone doesn't remember who. Just an example. Let's say Obama's mother, right? Because she's famous through being the mother of one of the presidents. But it's like we're talking about, sometimes there are actors that are very important that people forget about because they weren't from the era that person was in. Sometimes they're that way with music. I even had one person who was surprised I knew who, was it Dan Aykroyd? Because he tried to say that music is forever, but like actors are, and I was like, yeah, but if that person was still in very successful films, so I'm gonna know who they are, even if I wasn't part of the time period where they were at their peak. It just seems like people try really hard to not know who someone is, especially in a digital era where you can look up who someone was, who made this, in like that. It amazes me how arrogant a lot of people are while simultaneously being ignorant and irrational. Well, it just seems like they try really hard to be ignorant, that they don't actually want to learn anything. They're fine with not knowing stuff but still talking about it. Oh, I love Spider-Man so much. Oh, who was the longest serving writer on any of his books? Uh, oh, okay, I already read that. That happens a lot of times where I read the same comment twice. I don't even like Dan's. I call him Snot instead of Slot, but I still know who that is. I would still say, is a significant writer of that character because of how long he was with the book for 10 years. Still sucks, but I still will acknowledge that that's objectively a important person. He's not to that character what Claremont is to X-Men, like nowhere near that kind of influential, but he still is someone that people should know who they are, but mostly by virtue of how long he was on the book. Hey, we're gonna have to retitle this Legacy and Remembrance 2, the second edition of that stream. But I just don't see like why you have all these people that have done important things, and like it seems as if people go out of their way to not remember any of them. And I just think it's so depressing because it shows you that either they're hypocrites, because I would like to believe everybody wants to be remembered to some extent, and I guess they just don't they don't care to practice what they preach. Just like I got sick of like my subs not really leaving comments other than Tina, so I have been leaving more comments on different people I watch on their stuff. Even if I don't watch the whole video, like if it's an hour or two or three, like there are some people I watch that will put up a 3-hour video a week. I'll still leave a comment, because it helps them out. It boosts the algorithm for that person. Like if I was getting 100 comments every video, not even 100, maybe like 10, 20, that would tremendously help. I probably would get like 100 views a video at that point. Because I would say comments are stronger than likes, because sometimes YouTube will remove likes, but they don't just manually get rid of comments more often than not. The information is literally at the top of people's fingers and they choose to ignore it. Yeah. They just remember for the moment. Right, but I'm saying that it's sad to me that you have people who do objectively important things and they get ignored. Like, and then even like, okay, people know who Martin Luther King is, but I mean, a lot of them still barely know anything about the man. Like, I always see like I don't want to say who it was. I know someone who wrote a child that wrote something on him where all they could mention was "I Have a Dream" and him getting murdered. They didn't mention him skipping 9th and 11th grade to go to Morehouse. I just hate. They didn't mention him getting surveilled by Hoover for the last 5 years of his life. His opposition to the Vietnam War, which put him at conflicts with Johnson. And if they do remember anything besides him getting murdered and I Have a Dream, it's some tabloid crap. Oh, he was cheating on his wife. Like, I just hate that people who do important things, or even some of the ones that you remember, if they did something significant, it just gets overlooked for some stupid, We're literally living in the golden age of information and people don't take, yeah. It's never been easier to learn stuff than it is now. You don't have to get a book. A lot of times you can actually get a book online and read the whole thing for free, which is what we did with a lot of comics. But it's like they have so many different ways to learn stuff now that is easier than it's ever been, and they just don't take advantage of any of it. And it's sad to me because it's like, what's the point of having all this technology that lets us know about certain stuff if you're not going to use it at all? Or for, like any type of purpose. I mean, even with like just posting a video, right? At least it's some kind of productive conversation where no one is insulting another person. Or if someone does insult another person, it's usually, someone that comes in here writing nasty stuff about me. But even with something like that, it still is being used in a productive manner. It's not just trash talk. This isn't Jerry Springer. Yeah, it's the golden age of information, and people still act like they live in the Stone Age. It's really sad. They also didn't mention the fact that he's been arrested several times on trumped up charges. They didn't mention him having a black woman come up to him, a mentally ill one, and stab him in the chest and puncture his aorta and almost kill him 10 years before he actually did die. I just think it's so sad. We could sit here and mention different things about him that we know, but it's even worse when they have like literal very important people that they know nothing about. Like with Johnson, I know people who not only do they not know anything that man did, they don't even know who he is. And these aren't young people. I know people in their 20s and 40s don't know who that is. I'm like, how do you not? Oh my God. So I said, this stuff will drive you insane. Just people are so dumb. Like, again, if a little kid doesn't know who they are, whatever, but these are grown adults and they have access to the same internet that you or I do. Dude, if someone like Ralph Abernathy can't get remembered and he was the right-hand guy for King, for like the movement that literally changed, African American history forever, then it's like, what chance do you have of being remembered? And I remember I had this one guy. So there was a person I used to watch on YouTube. His girlfriend, they were engaged for a year, and then she cheated on him with some guy on Instagram. And I was bringing up how, it's like this was a person who had their own job, their own business. She was able to live with this person and with the stipulation she was be a good wife for him, and just she completely like screwed him over. This man that I thought was the world of at the time, right? And I was like, well, if someone who has achieved that much, who I think so highly of, can be screwed over by a woman in this manner, it's going to be the same fate for me. And then I had this, the person I called Bird Brain in my Romance Curse video was like, you're not him though. It's like, the point is, if you think of a person higher than yourself, you hold them in a very high regard, higher than you hold yourself, and they're getting screwed over, it's reasonable for you to assume it's going to be the same fate for you, if not worse. And that's why I said, for like a lot of the people that are forgotten, I would say they're all way more important than I am. And it's like, if they can't even be remembered, you're not going to get remembered. But that also means these trolls that come on my stuff are not going to be remembered either. So I guess that's the one good thing that comes out of it. Yeah, I'm making a video on Brandon this week. I'm very excited to do it. It's going to be called Brandon Exposed. I'm looking forward to showing all the screenshots and all the proof. No, there actually is someone I'm thinking of making a video on, but it's not him. I want to go, what did I do now? I just think it's so sad when people do important, like historically important things. Like, it's different from, oh, I remember my mother forever. So just, some generic thing like that, because that's a person that you're related to that more often than not you're gonna have a close relationship with, but just people who've done very significant things in world history, just nothing. Like you didn't even exist, you know? I just find it to be really sad. Like they don't remember people in the political realm that changed the world. They don't remember people in the entertainment realm, like none of it, man. It's crazy. So if she didn't cheat, you would be good. Your relationship would work out. Huh? If who didn't cheat? Elaborate. I don't know who you're referring to. Akatsuki Merchant, do you have anything else left to say? Well, it's hard to say because he had issues with her not cleaning the house because she was there all day long by herself while he would go to work. So I don't know if it would have worked out even if she didn't cheat because he had other issues with her before that. But again, the point is, it really seemed like if you're her, you have this very ideal situation and you just completely destroy it for some guy on the computer. I don't watch him anymore. But I always will be sympathetic toward him for that. He did nothing wrong. Because I know damn well I would never have some woman just sitting up in my house while I go to work. That's insane. So the only person that'll ever be allowed to mooch off of me is my little brother because that's a kid. Some grown one, no. It's just so sad that like he mentioned that she was with some abusive boyfriend for 8 years. They used to beat on her and broke the windows out of it was either her car or her mom's car. It's like you'll be with someone and then cheat on them and break up with them after 2 years that treat you right, but then the person that puts their hands on you, you stay with them for eight, for for two whole presidential terms. You stay with them. Oh my God. Well, maybe you don't have all the details. Well, I mean, if we're just gonna start doing the you weren't there, you don't know what happened thing, we can just do it with everybody. Like at this point, I can just block everyone that ever says something about me romantically because they weren't there either. They don't have all the details. And unlike them, I'm not making up any of this stuff. This was in his video. I'm just going off the information he provided. Like I very much doubt that if I was living at a woman's house while she went to work and I wasn't cleaning and I was cheating on her, anybody would say after I was criticized, well, you don't have all the details. It's like that just by itself sounds like something a douchebag would do. That sounds like something an ungrateful person would do. Did the guy threaten the woman with a weapon, forcing her not to leave? No, they were, those abusive relationships where like someone will hit the other person and be like, oh, I'm never going to do this again. That kind of thing where she was with someone like that for 8 years, 8 years, right? But then the guy that doesn't put his hands on her, that lets her sit at his house and not do anything other than ask her to clean, then she gets mad about doing something like that quit his job so he could take her to her sickle cell um, stuff with a doctor early in the morning. She is with that person for 2 years before she cheats on him. Here we go with the weird comment. Every stream, man. There's always one of them. So I said something's wrong with these chicks. There is no way that well, you would never even see this because a woman won't let you just live at her house while she goes to work. But if this did happen, like let's say that hypothetically there was a woman that I was with that let me live at her house while she went to work and just said, oh, just clean up. You would never. I wouldn't be caught dead talking to another woman to try to cheat. It would never happen. I'd be so grateful to that person. Like she completely ruined a great thing she had. I don't feel any sympathy for her. That's bimbo logic if I ever seen some. Because the only way I would think that a person would stay in an abusive relationship is if they were violently threatened. Right, but the point he was making was that she was able to stick out with this guy that put his hands on her for 8 years, but the one that didn't only got 2. How do you know she was working or busy working on her? Huh? How do you know she was working or busy working on her own stuff? She didn't have a job. She was just sitting at his house. And he said, all you have to do is clean. And in that time, she would watch TV and cheat on him with another man. Sounds like a crap life having to clean a dude's dirty house. I mean, we don't know how dirty it is. Like, we can just keep playing this game of I wasn't there, you weren't there. And you're really telling me that it's a crap life to be with someone that you like or love, as she claimed that she did at the time, who pays all your bills and you get to do whatever you want after cleaning the house. Dude, that's like a literal vacation. They always find a way to feel sorry for the woman. It's a crap life to have to clean a house maybe once a week, maybe every couple of days, and then get to do whatever you want for the rest of the day. But it's not a crap life to quit your job to support the woman that you're with and then find out she's cheating on you. Like, do you guys even think before you write this stuff? Do you even say, wait a second, this doesn't sound right? Any sense. Nobody does nothing or have no responsibilities. Yeah, her responsibility was cleaning the house, and she couldn't even do that. Cleaning a house is worse than working 40 plus hours to provide. Dude, if I had a woman, right, she said, you have 2 options. You can either work while I work, 5 days a week, 9 hours a day, or you can stay at home, clean everything up while I work each day. You better believe I would pick the latter. I mean, how do you even conflate that? I feel so bad for this woman that all she had to do was clean the house every couple of days. Poor woman. Like, how? Explain that. I swear, no logic. Dude, as long as it has a triangle, these people will, as long as it has a clip, they'll defend it. That's the phrase. I'm gonna defend women until I'm blind. 'Cause sticking my neck out for chicks has destroyed my mind. If you live with someone, you have a responsibility to pitch in. You don't get to just sit around just because you have a triangle between your legs. But again, it's like she agrees to these terms and then not only doesn't do them, but then cheats on him as well. You know damn well, what's this person's name? Serena? That sounds like a Pokemon character. You know damn well if it was reversed and it was this woman, right, that was paying all the stuff and the guy was sitting at the house cheating on her while also not cleaning, she would not be defending this person at all. You would not see Serena going, let's defend this man. Not at all. Remember, when they have that triangle, you don't understand what she was going through. Her life was so terrible. All her bills were paid by her boyfriend. Oh, boo-hoo. Not in this world. I swear they will get everything. They get the best circumstances, and they have people who try to make their good circumstance sound. I mean, she makes this sound like she was being abused. Oh my God, this person was paying for all her stuff. Nobody should cheat, just live. I mean, you're defending the person that cheated. She had a crap life having to clean a guy's dirty house. that justifies her cheating. Her crap life of not having to pay any bills. What a sick thing that was going on to her. Man, forget about the people in Yemen getting bombed to death every day. Let's talk about the chick that was having all her stuff paid for by a guy that was so overwhelmed by the stress and the tenacity of having to put up with that. I mean, like, what is that? Damn, I must arrive at time to. It is bimbo logic. Now, Megumi, I told this story 3 years ago about a guy I used to watch who met a woman on YouTube. They began a relationship. She moved in with him. He told her all she had to do was be a good wife to me, to pay all the bills. She wouldn't clean the house, and she cheated on him with the guy off of Instagram after cursing him out and all the rest of that stuff. And it was very insane to me because I could never imagine living with a woman who pays all my stuff and cheating on her in addition to not doing the one thing she asked for in return. And this person is trying to defend this, going, she had a crap life having to pay this guy's guy's dirty house. So your life is crappy if you have to clean a house while all your bills are paid, but it's not crappy if you have to work 40 hours a week to support a woman who not only doesn't do anything, but also cheats on you. Some women have crappy triangle, but act like they have the Zelda Triforce between their legs. I just picture Link picking that up. What are you talking about? She lives there too. It's her house too. Yeah, like if she was with him for a year. So if anyone made it, think about this, right? She's at the house most of the time. She's with him for a year. If anybody made it dirty, it probably was her. Like the person who's there more often than not is probably going to be the culprit for why it's bad, right? And you're really going to tell me nobody's house ever gets dirty after like weeks? Really? Clean a dude's dirty house? What do you like? You expect just to be clean 24/7? It never gets dirty. Just no such thing as the passage of time. Nothing. Okay. And that's why I said, if it was the guy that was living at this woman's house while she went to work 40 hours a week, you would not see Serena going, this poor man had a crappy life, having to have all his bills paid and just have to clean a woman's house. Oh, what a poor guy. You would not see that. Because nobody ever feels sorry for men, ever. Even if they do nothing wrong, they still get blamed for it. God, what a life. She doesn't have to do anything to work or anything, yet apparently cleaning a house. Not only is cleaning a house something she can't do, but infidelity is something she can do because she cheated on him as well. While the dude goes out to work for hours a day, just reverse the roles and you won't see anyone defend the guy. That kind of empathy or sympathy will not be applied to the guy. No, nobody ever feels sorry for you. The point is his love life doesn't affect yours. Your situation could work. That was not, no one said that it affected mine. The point was, if someone you believe very highly in seems to be doing everything right to satisfy their partner, and then they are betrayed by that person, by that individual cheating on them, there's a good inference that that might happen to you as well, even if it doesn't. You're not wrong to look at this seemingly good relationship that just went to complete smithereens because of what the woman decided and go, yeah, they might do that to me as well. Because if I had some woman living at my house who I quit my job to support during her physical ailments, she had sickle cell, along with that person not cleaning my stuff and cheating on me, I'd be pissed. Oh, give me a second. I got somebody calling me. Yeah, he paid the bills, but was he loving and supportive? I don't think you can get more supportive than paying for where someone lives. I don't think you can get more supportive than quitting your job to personally drive your sick partner to the hospital to take care of their illness. I don't think you can be more supportive than to forego sleeping at your very comfortable house to lay at the hospital with your sick partner. Like, what's more supportive than that? Any way you look at it, this woman is a douchebag. And I don't know how you extrapolate all of this empathy for someone that is a piece of garbage. Remember, Banana Merchant, if it has a clit, we need to wholeheartedly defend it and make up fan fiction to justify why things are the way they are. You really are trying to find any bit of reason to trash the guy, isn't it? In this situation, yeah. Well, sure, he paid the bills and quit his job to take her to the hospital, but was he loving and supportive? Like, what a joke. Paying the bills so someone else can live rent free is being supportive. What are you talking about? I like how there's no question mark at the end of that. It's like, what are you talking about? Every stream, there's always one crazy person on there that just starts writing the most insane. I mean, they might as well be speaking Chinese because I'm not understanding anything this person is saying. It makes no sense to me. All logic is lost. Breaking news: all logic is lost. When people are defending women, they will do all kind of backflips and twists and turns. This guy said when you debate somebody about like what a woman did, it's like reading a Goosebumps novel. Remember Goosebumps, the books where it's like you want to know what happens if they do this? Turn to page 103. You want to know what happens when they do this? Turn to page 62. Like that's what they are. Where they just have all these turns and shifts and twists. It's very clear cut that what she did was screwed up. Not trash, just don't understand why a woman with a great guy would cheat and leave because she is very screwed up, because she's doing something that makes no sense, because she doesn't appreciate what she has. You have a lot of people who will say they enjoy speaking to me and then just abruptly stop speaking. And you would probably say, don't let me paraphrase you wrote, don't understand why someone who found someone that they say is great to talk to would just stop speaking to them abruptly. Like they do, people do that. They ghost you, they change their mind out of nowhere with no concern for how that affects you because they're selfish pricks that only care about themselves. I swear, man, this lady is living in the twilight zone. Mhm. They're lucky I don't want to get demonetized. I will play that. Yes, people actually do that. Seriously, happened to me many times as well. They don't care and are very selfish. Hmm. It's like you don't understand. We don't understand either. We think it made no sense, that it was insane, that it screwed up. Like we're just as confused as you are, but we're not trying to like trash the guy to defend the indefensible. If this is true, she's an idiot. He sounded like a perfect guy. Yeah, you have that where you meet the perfect person, or someone depicts you as being the perfect person, and then you ruin it. Like that woman that agreed to date me and then did the backflip. She wrote all kind of stuff sucking me off. Oh, you're so amazing, and I love speaking to you, and you're so smart, and you're handsome. Oh, oh, and then after she writes all that crap, starts reneging. And you would say, they made you sound like the perfect person. Why is she doing this? Bimbo logic. It doesn't make any sense. That's why it's as frustrating as it is. Like I said before, I don't think women make smart decisions with the men that they choose to get with, or the things that they do to men, rather. What happened where you trashed online by your ex? I mean, I met my only ex, the gold digger, on the computer, but she hasn't trashed me online. I trashed her. I said, "Dingbat, if you believe I'm gonna send you $1 every time just because you beg for it every day, you have to be the dumbest person on the planet." That's another con artist. For that whole first month, she was so sweet, asked me how I was doing. Are you all right? And then after you agreed to date her, she morphed into the biggest gold digger in U.S. history. That Decepticon revealed her little purple insignia after she ripped it off her chest and was begging for money every day for a whole like almost 2 weeks before she got blocked and banned. Again, chicks do a lot of nasty stuff, and it just sucks to see people turn their brains off to defend them. People that do and say stuff that is indicative to a person who's showed genuine interest in someone only to flip around to be a douchebag. Yeah, they like playing with you. They like wasting your time. They like leading you on. It's all part of their game. I just think it's insane that like he did all this stuff for this woman and then got that result. I guess the saying is true: no good deed goes unpunished. We're able to defend that person just vehemently. That's crazy. I'm gonna defend this woman I've never met to my last breath. No, I think people really do turn their brains off with chicks. Like for to get that defensive for someone you've never met, I just don't understand. But they love playing the plot twist. Oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're so handsome. And then backflip. Oh, by the way, for that hacker that was on DVD mobile, I found a way to report them. They said they want video proof, and I got that match recorded. So we're gonna get them over here walking around like you're Sonic. That was insane. Okay, sorry that happened to you. That's terrible. Don't who said we hate all women? Like what? Again, this goes back to what I was talking about when I said you guys write this nonsense, and then when you get banned, you're shocked. No one on this channel that is a regular of the live stream has said they hate all women. Like I wouldn't have what is it like 40, 50 videos defending Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski if I hated all women. But that's why I said these people don't even write things that make sense. If you criticize women, you hate all of them. If all women did that, none of us would exist. Yeah. Like I know the love story between my parents very well. I don't. There's no record of my mother living under my dad's roof while he paid for everything and then cheating on him with some guy on the computer. So I don't know where. There's no record of my mother acting nice to my dad for a month, and then when they agreed to be a couple, she starts begging him for money every day until he blocks her. I don't remember my mother asking my dad out, him saying yes, and then her back flipping. Like again, no, we criticize this stuff because it's weird, because it wastes men's time. And you can criticize chicks and not hate all of them. Like I don't know where you guys get these ideas from. That's why I said you invent fan fiction. Don't hate all women though. Who said we hated all of them? Whenever. I don't even hate the ones that did a lot of this stuff. I just think they're stupid. Like you can think somebody is dumb and not hate them. I really fail to find out how she arrived at that conclusion. Again, that's why I don't like grouping myself with the I words, because they want to lump you into a box when they use these terms and all these other little things they write. So they want to believe that you hate women, even if you've never said that you do, that you just want to use them to get screwed. Because remember, chicks are all nuns that don't like ever getting banged. We have to remember it's only men that get gratification out of sexual stuff. They try to lump you in a box. Forget listening to your specific arguments, because when you're a man, you as an individual don't matter. There are a lot of hateful black guys online. Oh, okay, so you're just being racist. All right, okay. Well, I hope your clan membership is in. And I'm expecting you to drop the N-word a few times after this. A lot of hateful black guys online. Because those black guys are all the same, right? Again, when people get banned, my free speech, why couldn't he let me write my racist stuff in his comment section? To hell with his specific arguments, let me be racist toward him. I just want to be a prejudiced prick. Please let me. Dude, they really act like when you block them, it's the worst thing in the world. So because there are a lot of hateful black guys online, I'm going to be judged by the color of my skin and not the content of my character. All right. Got to let them have their free speech, huh? Or they start crying. Please don't ban me from your channel. No. I actually did have one guy who kept writing the N-word. Like I got rid of it and I didn't block him because I just assumed that was like a just spam, whatever. And then he wrote it again on another video. Like, what is the point of that? Like hold on, let me curl up in a ball and commit suicide because somebody called me a name. There are a lot of hateful black. It's really ironic for them to write that, because if anyone has been given hateful stuff from guys on here, it's me. Like I have plenty of comments with racial slurs, homophobic stuff as well. Different accusations that you're gonna do like violence against people, all kind of nasty stuff written. So again, it's real ironic seeing them try to like say all these hateful people. Can a black woman be racist? Well, how am I supposed to know, person with no avatar or any picture to represent yourself, that you're a black woman? It's like, again, think. Like I'm supposed to think about this. I'm supposed to scan through the screen, like be a hacker, and know what nationality you are as you sit down in front of a computer that anybody can access regardless of their ethnicity. And if you've actually seen any of my stuff, you know that I say multiple times, race doesn't matter. I've had black women do this to me. I've had white chicks do this to me. The only woman I ever dated was Hispanic, which I again, she mostly got through because she was the only one that showed interest. So it was first come, first serve. There are a lot of hateful black guys. You must be one of them. You hate all women, even though you've never actually said that. I'm just going to say that you believe that. Oh, clown of the hour. I mean, I'd rather have this person than that Tony that Tony Trevor Karai person. We're gonna make a troll tier list. It's gonna be like this one. Like that one has like a D minus or something. This one has like a C or like just a little bit of racism, but they're all right. A little bit of racism, a little bit of accusations of stuff we never said. A little bit of over defensiveness for people they've never met. Mix it in the pot. I remember the Powerpuff Girl like intro, sugar, spice, everything nice. It's like over defensiveness, racism. Just mix those together. You get somebody on the bellwether. Can a black woman be racist against her? It's like how would I even know what ethnicity you are, Miss? I don't have a profile picture. I don't care who people date as long as they're respectful of all women. It sure would be nice for them to be respectful of men. That would be really cool. At least of me anyway, because I stopped talking to chicks because I found them to be very disrespectful of me. I didn't like being accused of trying to get with someone because I happen to have a male genitalia and ask them about how they're doing. I didn't like having other men come to my video and try to like call me gay because it apparently it makes sense for a homosexual man to approach women. That's like totally what gay people do, what gay men do. Like I just didn't feel I was respected, so I decided to walk away from the group of people that disrespected me. I didn't think it was respectful when in May of this year, I had a person who agreed to go on a date with me and then renege and then lie to her mother about me and say that, oh, I told him to stop speaking to me, even though last night I promised to speak to him today. Respectful to all women, yeah. If you believe all women are worth respecting, I have a bridge to sell you. Because nobody ever says respect all men, including the child molesters, serial killers, rapists, drug dealers, and terrorists. You gotta respect them. They got that magic banana. Like, I don't sit around getting mad if somebody disrespects man. It's like, that doesn't affect me. You write something to me is when I say, all right, we need to address this. You care too much about what people think. Not really. I mean, they write stuff and it doesn't, we make a video like screenshotting and laughing at it. If I cared what they thought, I capitulate to them. Somebody would go to the gym, I go, oh, we gotta go bench. I would say if anyone cares too much what someone thinks, it's these men. Like they come to my video and like write whole paragraphs about my opinion. Like I'm just one guy who says I'm good. And then that's enough to drive them to type in all this stuff. I care too much about people. That's the biggest joke I heard all year. Of all women deserve respect for simply being women. What happened to judging people? Oh, that doesn't exist. That's why she said earlier, there are a lot of hateful black men online. So I just assume that since you are African American, you are also the same way as them because I judge people by the color of their skin and not the content of their character. To hell with what you've said specifically. I'm not going to treat you like an individual and hear out what you have to say. I'm just going to shove you in a box. You care too much about what people think. No, other people write stupid stuff, and yeah, like think about this. I'm the one who cares much what people think, but they come to me. I have never appeared in the comment section of anybody else's romantic stuff besides my own. Well, I did that. I went on James' video to ask if I could use like a screenshot something in there, but like I'm not like angry that other men talk to women or don't want to talk. Whatever, it doesn't bother me. But I care too much with people. Yeah, that's the pot calling the kettle black. No, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. Also, what you said before contradicts what you said before. You think all black guys online are hateful? There are a lot of them, so you must be one too. Dude, it's so funny to like have chicks that have screwed you over that live all over the world, like because of the internet, right? Are all different ethnicities, and she gonna really sit here and talk about the hateful black men that talk about black women. It's like I think they're all the same. Like that there is no difference in their race. I have tried to go on a date with chicks from different nationalities and ethnicities, and it's been the same result. I think it really has been like it because we tried with blacks. That's why I approach mostly in real life. White, which I've never. I think it's been like two of them I approached that were white. Hispanic, which is the biggest gold digger in U.S. history, was that race. There was, I think, what was there was one that was in Trinidad. I don't know what she was. Oh, Indian, yeah. Okay. There was one that was in Indonesia, and she was like I think Asian. So like I don't care about ethnicity. Yeah, seriously, race doesn't matter. A lot of them still do this nonsense of red. Dude, they love doing that. Megumi is so smart and so handsome, and I feel a connection with him. Oh, he wants to go on a date. Ah! We care so much what other people think. That's why clowns come on here to argue because they don't like what we're saying. Yeah, like if we care what other people think, wouldn't we be going to them? Wouldn't I be going, well, in this comment section over here, they're saying you should still talk to women. I'm going to go show them. Like, no, I don't care. Why do you think you're having bad luck with girls? Well, the premise of that question already is goofy. See, it's not just me that's having bad luck with girls. If there's entire groups about men trying to get with women and getting rejected over and over and over again and believing they'll never get with anybody. I even did a whole video with like, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and regurgitate what I made in the video. I'll send you the link to the video so you can go watch it. Let me grab that thing. I love when I type my own video and I got 5 other. You type in the title of your video and you get 5 other videos before the one that you actually made. Oh, YouTube search results are terrible. Oh, look, there's that comment by that guy that pretended to be a woman. How classic. Or if you click that link, Serena, you'll get the why do men get rejected by women over and over. That pretty much answers your question. I'm not about to sit here and, again, regurgitate a video already made. You can go watch that. Have you told your parents about how dating went for you? If so, do your parents blame you for that? Oh, of course. Of course. But again, I mean, you get blamed by everybody. Like the only people that'll show a little bit of sympathy are like men who've had the same experience, like my best friend, or some of those like chicks that are like really weird. Like they don't want to actually date you, but they are like really into this thing of the man getting rejected over. Like they're amused by your pain. This person actually believes that talking about these issues somehow gives you bad luck with women. Completely irrational. Oh, it's very irrational because, like I said, the majority of people that get rejected, men rather, don't make videos about it. So if not making videos about it was such a big advantage, why do we have whole groups on these different forums of people that don't make videos about it that still get the same result? My best friend doesn't make any videos about chicks. He still gets rejected by them. It's like what? No logic, just out the window. Dating sucks forever. Nah, don't try to compare the two. Like even if a woman gets some boyfriend that she thinks sucks, she still gets the chance to date that person. When you're a man, you get like one chick every 10 years that maybe likes you, and then she still might do the I thought I liked you, but I just don't feel that way crap. So don't try to conflate the two. It's not the same. Yeah, somebody just came back. Dating sucks for everyone. It's no, it is not the same. I would take the chick situation 1,000 times before I took the men's situation. Because even if women don't get someone that they think is great or amazing, they still have options. Like again, you don't see women on YouTube. I've been rejected by every man I asked out. Never. I'm going to disagree with that. Women overall have the upper hand, and definitely when it comes, yeah. Like Megumi, for us, it's a question of if. For them, it's a question of when. They get men, multiple ones a year. They don't understand what it's like to do this stuff at all. To have someone sit there and pretend to like you for weeks or months and then renege or say, "Oh, I you didn't like them back the way that they thought," or whatever that trash is, and then to be harassed by other men on the computer for decisions that a woman made. Like I said, if you reject women, it's your fault you didn't get with anybody, and if you get rejected by them, it's your fault you didn't get with anybody because always blame the man. Respect all women. Show me one that doesn't waste my time. I'll respect that person. I don't know who these people like. What are they even typing anymore? Like what is this? Dating sucks for everyone. Guys will pretend to like you, then cheat the first chance they get. Okay, I'm sure men like that exist, but it is still not comparable to never getting the chance because you're entitled to date someone ever, or being told that you have to do a series of arduous steps so that someone might maybe like you enough to go on a date. I don't know, Serena. You tell me. Did you have to go to the gym and every day, or do 500 push-ups, or become a millionaire to get a man to like you? I'm very interested in that. If you did those things to attract the opposite sex. Do you have sisters in your family? If so, have they told you why this happened to you? No, I have a brother. My best friend is a sister, but she doesn't care. Like again, it doesn't affect them, so it's like whatever. Again, if like you'll be, I'm just gonna call you Burton because I can't pronounce your first name. I don't want to mispronounce it. You'll be very surprised to see how much stuff people don't care about as long as it doesn't affect them. Like I used to make the Yemen videos all the time about these children that were being murdered by the U.S. government in cooperation with Saudi Arabia, and a bunch of people didn't care and even said, whatever, because it's not happening to them. Hence why a lot of men subject themselves to suicide due to this idea of never ever being with a woman year after year and the constant pressure implied due to society standards. Burden, my brother is a child. He thinks girls have cooties. This is You're asking a lot of questions about the Dissinger family tree. I don't know what the deal with that is. I mean, a lot of these guys seem to be mad at me because I actually do other stuff besides like talk about chicks. Like they're mad that I didn't let it destroy me. You know, that's why you have a clown who said you're a mediocre man because you don't want to improve for a group of people. Don't have to do anything besides have a triangle to be attractive to people, to men rather. That's why we point out the hypocrisy of having these guys who say you should talk about something else, and then when you talk about the news all week or do a DVD video or a Dragon Ball video, whatever, they don't comment because they're hypocrites. They're just here to write stupid crap and then disappear. Are you kidding? You have no idea what women have to do to attract man. Yeah, I believe that. Hair, makeup, high heels. You really want me to believe that men won't go on a date with a woman who doesn't wear makeup or high heels. You want me to believe that? Are you kidding? LOL. If you really want me to believe that, dude, if you had to wear high heels to get a date, how do girls in Catholic high schools get dates? Because you can't wear. I went to Catholic high school. You can't wear high heels as a student over, and none of them wore that, and a bunch of them still were able to get a man to like them, or I guess boys to like them back, rather. And we have actresses and other famous people, women rather, that have very little hair and still are able to get a man to like them. What's that one woman's name? Amber Rose or something, whatever her name is. Like I don't know where these people come up with these theories. It's just you have no idea what it's like for women. We have to wear this and we have to wear that. We have to do this. Yeah. What about the chick who got 50 guys to message? Exactly. Listen, Serena, we actually deal with evidence here, and we have it on good authority that a woman who on Reddit didn't show a single man what she looked like was able to get half of 100 men to message her without any of them seeing what she looked like. But you're going to sit here and tell me about to attract a man, we need to have hair and makeup and high heels. And then on Reddit, if you go in the section for men looking for women, no replies. It's a wasteland. But you're gonna sit here and try to spin that to me. Women have to do things too. It's so hard. That's why there are groups of women that talk about how they've never been on a date with a man. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, studies have shown that men do not care about looks as much as society lets on. Dude, men will look as long as a woman has a triangle, she can find a man. I've seen women that are overweight get men, women that are poor get men. Um, I mean, just like any negative trait you can associate with someone, if they have it, I know women that have like mental illnesses get men. A woman that was in a wheelchair got a man. Like I don't. There is no handicap on them when it comes to attracting a partner. Because again, men barely get any, or almost, or sometimes no attention from women, so they'll put up with whatever. You have one. Remember what we said. You preach acceptance while being met with intolerance. That's how it is for men. You accept them no matter what condition they're in. But then if you want to get with one, you have to do these arduous steps. You gotta be a superhero to get a date. Why is this guy acting like women have some special intuition about dating? If they did, they wouldn't choose, but they do. I just read that comment in Koski Merchant. Like that's funny that they pick all kind of like horrible men, and then you want to sit here and talk about the intuition they have. Hair, makeup, high. Dude, when I was in high school, none of the chicks that had boyfriends wore makeup. Like not a single, because you couldn't wear it there. You couldn't wear that or high heels, and they still were able to get boys to like them. Again, if you truly believe you have to do that stuff to get a date if you're a woman, I have a bridge to sell you. Like, what are you talking about? And that is hilarious. Again, I like the earlier part of the stream because we were talking about people that actually matter. Speaking of people that matter, because Roman King, he says, "Nah, some definitely wrong. If anybody just has an overwhelming streak of as well, I can't read the swear word because I try to not, get demonetized. Um, BFs, GFs, husbands and wives, and of course, chicks who people thought were weird evidently all have gotten the partner too. Yeah, you have women that have murdered their children that again like they were attractive enough for somebody to knock them up in the first place. Who even after murdering their kids still have men that are that are interested in them. It was the same thing with that Shayna Huber's broad. Like she killed her boyfriend and then had an inmate, marry her. Like it's really insane that I'm being told there's like things that chicks have to do to get a date. They don't. LOL. I wish I was laughing. That's really insane if you believe that. As long as you have a triangle, you can find a man. Doesn't matter what condition you're in. But if you're a man, you gotta be Superman. You have to do all these arduous steps. Gotta work on yourself forever. Until you get with a woman, then you have to work on yourself anymore. Even though if she rejects you or dumps you, it's at a later point we're still gonna blame you anyway. Just work on yourself. Just keep self improving. I'm waiting for Serena's next comment. I'm eagerly anticipating it. What do you see happening with dating in your future? I think if a woman ever shows interest, uh, if like let's say I don't know became more notable or something, I think it would have some like they've just done too much ridiculous, insane stuff for me to take them seriously anymore. So I think there's a very strong chance that one of them shows interest. It's going to be some like pseudo gold digger thing again, like some ulterior motive crap. Again, they can always prove me wrong by not begging for money and actually doing what they said initially they would do. But they like to flip flop. Here comes the 11th hour Ranger Dio, making his last minute cameo. Hey, this is the post credit scene. Dating is all risk now. That was funny when we did that stream on what was that Monday where James was reading the rules that the like stuff people were saying. It was like, if you're a man, initiate the first. It's like, are you crazy? If you like, have you seen all the Me Too stuff and you're really gonna tell somebody to initiate contact with a woman? What? Again, if you want to start speaking to someone, whatever, but like physically putting your hands on that person first, hell no. That is a good way to catch a court case. Whoever wrote that literally has lost their mind. They are leading you on a suicide mission. If you put your hands on a woman that doesn't like you back first, you could end up in the cemetery, in hell, or in jail. I don't know who thought that was a good idea to write that. Make the first move and initiate the first kid. Hell no. Again, if you want to be a daredevil and try it out, have at it. But I'm not about to sit up behind bars because somebody led me on. I just think it shouldn't be this hard to get a date. We already been over that before. Do you think women are more happier with less men around? I don't think they have less men around. I mean, they go on these social media sites and they have like 10, 11, 20, 30 guys trying to talk to them. Why do you think when every time somebody has opposition to what I say, 9 times out of 10, it's another man? Because women do not care if I, as one individual, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Again, they overinflate my importance. Women have to approach you. Maybe that's the yeah. Oh, okay, lady. Yeah, let's cut out the part where we approached year after year and got the same result. But now if they have to approach me, that's the problem. I'm supposed to approach them indefinitely until the end of my life. And remember, if they reject you, oh well, maybe it was something you did. Because remember, never their fault. It's like, are you even listening to what's being said? Or are you just typing? Are you just like putting some silly putty on your computer and having it type for itself? But Justin, that was advice from an alpha male, so you can't turn down that advice. Well, I already did. Oh, they love attention, deal. Why? Like you realize when they talk to those guys online, they know they're not actually going to meet most of them ever, right? Hell, we even did a video about two different women that would sit there and like send me all these messages day after day and completely leave out the fact that they had boyfriends because they know that that's off-putting to me as a single person. It takes you a month to mention this guy that you love so damn much. Yeah. You mentioned your mother, your sister, even sent me a picture of him, ironically enough, your dad. But when it's this, when it comes to this special guy, we got to throw him in the closet. Women love dangling the carrot on the string. Serena, just admit that you think of me as like the was it as the man to blame for everything that women do. Just admit it that in no circumstances is it ever the woman's fault. I should just be hung for what they do. That you support my verbal crucifixion. And apparently a real one too, since it's such a damn crime to just not want to talk to these people anymore. I have all these character analysis and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. It's like, come on, man. We're going to say, yeah, exactly. Why do you think he's having dating issues? Well, she already said something racist earlier. There are a lot of hateful black men, and I just accused you of being one because you're also black, so you must be hateful. But I'm not racist because I'm also black, so that makes it okay for me to say something racist. I'll keep that in mind. I think you sweet but very negative. I have a right to be very negative. My disposition has been earned. When people keep wasting your time over and over, you start to get cynical about it. It's safe to say that it would help to prioritize other meaningful pursuits. Oh, they hate that, Roman. They want you to just like, if you've seen the what video was that? There's this person, he's calling my stuff called Gerds, who was like, you need to treat approaching women with the utmost focus at the same time as he's saying work on yourself and lift weights and make so like you're supposed to find a way to add an extra 20 hours in the day to treat approaching women with the utmost focus. Where's that video? Give me a second. Oh, the self-improvement work on yourself crucible. Yeah. So talking about your experiences is considered negative. Yeah, like I wish I had more positive things to say about women. I wish I could come on here and say, "Oh, I did this one chick. She was so nice, and we used to have so much fun together." But hey, I've just been gypped over and over. Like give him better experiences if you want him to talk more positively about you. That's how it works. But I will apologize for telling the truth. I'm sorry. I'm very regretful that I revealed what actually happened. Next time I'll make up some fan fiction. Oh, it's always my fault according to these online people. That's why we need to just retile this stream, The Most Blamed Man of All Time 3. Wrap up the trilogy. Forget about applying pressure and work on yourself to charm someone who'd probably waste your time. Dating is a kind of a waste of time nowadays with Tinder, Bumble, etc., and all the nonsense. Yeah. You are very negative. I've earned my negativity. I'm sorry for my basic pattern recognition skills. Oh, the last 90 chicks wasted your time? Well, this next one might be different. It's like, yeah, maybe, but I don't think so. And then they'll say, "Oh, well, you should change because you keep getting the same result." I'm like, well, hell, you're telling me to keep doing the same thing of approaching them instead of letting them approach me. Like, why do I always have to initiate it with a douchebag that's not even interested or pretends to be or like does some, you know, plot twist comic book stuff? I'm just like, it's overdone. All that about charm does not matter. Women judge in 15 seconds what they want to do. Yeah, dude, they really want you to believe that eventually, after talking to her for several weeks or months, you'll unlock her love. It's like you guys really want me to believe that they don't just instantly know who they would get with. Like if I see an attractive woman, I know right then and there I would date that person. But how can you complain you don't approach girls anyway? You expect women to do all the yeah, to do all the initial work. I can complain because I approached them consecutively for 7 years. Like, what am I? Would I only be allowed to complain if I approached them for 10 or 11? Again, it's like, what are you even talking about? And women complain about men all the time, even though we have proof that for the most part they don't start the initial work. So I guess one side gets to complain without starting things, but then the other side doesn't get to complain after they started things for 7 years. Okay. It's always you're the problem and not you probably dodged the bullet. Yeah, because remember the magic woman, gotta defend her at all costs. How's the GT theme song go? Uh, will they have the strength to be our last line? Oh, it's like, will they have the strength to be our last line of defense? That's how they are for these shit. How can you complain you don't approach girls anyway? I did for 7 years. And I know damn well that if I still approach them, you would say, "Oh, you probably did this, you probably did that." Like they'll always nitpick you because they don't want to criticize them. You expect women to do all the initial work. They don't do anything. That's the God honest truth. They don't do anything. I asked one of these chicks to voice for my show. They did a little bit, then ran off and left me even more screwed over than before. One time I asked a woman if I could briefly like move in with her because she lived in the same state and I was having some issues over here. She said no. So like, what value do they bring? What work do they do? God, people just they treat these triangles like some kind of golden coin, like this, like some ancient relic that's worth doing all this protecting of and preserving. It's really nuts. You expect the women to do all the initial? They don't do anything. What work? Anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. I'm tired of this person. So thanks, King. Thanks, James. Thanks, Dio. Thanks, Megumi. Thanks, Mr. Burton, not Tim Burton, the other Burton. Who else is here? Thanks, Akatsuki Merchant. I think we did everybody. Yeah, and then Brandon was here earlier. He had his like 15 minutes of screen time. So I'll do another stream on Monday. I'll put up a video tomorrow. Have a good Saturday.